Welcome to the channel, everyone. Today I'm actually working on my Honda Trail 90. They also called these like CT 90s. The Trail 110 actually replaced these bikes. This is a 71, I believe. I restored this thing, I believe, like 15 years ago, so it's hard to remember all the details. But yeah, it's they're actually fun little bikes. They were very popular in the 70s and 80s. If you talk to any older person, they probably have some memories of either riding on one of these or driving them or abusing them. But yeah, they're pretty popular in the early 70s and 80s. This one here, like I said, is mine. Actually, it was my grandpa's, and the reason we have it is because my grandpa actually used these bikes to turn our moss, to dry it. I don't know if I got pictures. I don't know if I got video of me running a Trail 110, because like I said, the 110s replaced these 90s. They were a little underpowered, so they went to a 110. But I'll see if I got any pictures of how we used these. I found this one in the back of our shed, and it was not in this condition. When I got it, I did a restoration on this thing, like I said, 15 years ago or so, something like that, long time ago. And I went through, basically kind of just replaced everything that needed to be replaced and kind of restored everything that wasn't working. The only thing I really didn't touch was the motor. I didn't rebuild the motor. It's tired. The motor is tired. It's burning some oil. I think maybe the compression might be a little bit low on it, but it runs. So I kept running it. I bought one of those Chinese motors on eBay or something like that, like a 110 or a 125 to replace this one, because I knew this one was tired. But when I got it, it said it was going to be a bolt-in, and it wasn't a bolt-in. I forget what engine mounts weren't going to work. One of the engine mounts, either the front one or the one, there's a motor mount there, and there's a motor mount down below. And then actually the whole thing is bolted to this like skid plate thing, and it goes up to here. And like I said, I can't remember exactly which one wasn't going to work, but I think you can get adapters now to bolt them newer motors on, like they have that like Trail 70, I believe, and stuff like that, them littler bikes. But yeah, I sent that motor back because it wasn't going to work without me fabricating something. So I just left it. Basically did like an original restoration of what it would have been. So yeah, it's pretty much like it would have been in 71 when it was born. I got the passenger seat there. And it's also got the auxiliary fuel tank, which those, I seen one on eBay, very expensive for an original one. Original type taillight and everything on this thing. Yeah, everything's pretty much like I said, like it would have been in 71 when it was born. So actually the reason that I have this in here in the shop is I'm leaking fuel. So I see I got a ripped boot here too. I'm probably gonna need some boots. I think my headlight, one of my headlight, that's a brand new 6-volt headlight, but I think I lost high beam or low beam, one of the beams I lost. But I'm leaking fuel, and I thought that it was my fuel selector. I thought this thing was leaking. So I have a little, that's what this is right here. I actually got some new fuel line, but it might be too big. I know it's a lot thicker on the outside than the one I have now. I actually got some fuel filters with it too, because there's a little bit of rust in that fuel tank. It actually comes with a few clamps too there, but now that I took the cover off. The cover right there goes over the neck of the bike. Took that off, and what I found is I'm not liking up here. It kind of looks like there might be fuel leaking out of the fuel tank fittings right there, which it's got me nervous. I have smelt that, what looks like liquid here. It don't really smell like fuel, so I'm hoping that's just like every time I washed it or something, it just trapped some water in there or something. So you can see it's kind of dirty after I took that cover off. So I think I'm going to start with giving this thing a rinse off here to get everything clean so I don't get sand and everything. And then I guess I'll go from there. I don't really know. I was just going to replace that little gasket in that carburetor there and see, but I'm a little nervous on if that's the actual problem or not. But I don't know. We'll see. I might take a few things off and do some checking. Okay, so I got this thing cleaned up. The heater kicked on because I had the garage door open, so hopefully that isn't going to mess up my audio here. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with my first thought on what's going on with this, why it's leaking. I'm going to take these little screws off of here, and I'm going to get a new gasket in here. Now, I did mess with this before I started, and one of these screws was like loose. So it might not even been a gasket problem. It might have been just a loose bolt here. But we've got kind of like a spring thingy here. Here's the gasket, which looks to me like the gasket is still fine. It actually feels it still feels rubbery. So I'm thinking maybe that's not even the problem now. If I can get that back in there. There's some little deals you got to line up the holes. But this whole thing could have been a loose bolt right here, and that's all that was. Or I could be completely wrong here. And this thing is going to leak from somewhere else. These little screws are so small. It's hard to tighten them up without stripping them out. Well, that's a lot harder to move than the other one. But I think I'm gonna go get my fuel. I gotta find out where it's leaking anyway, so I think I'm gonna get some fuel, throw some fuel in the tank, and yeah, we'll see if I fix the leak or not. Okay, so part of the reason why I'm working on this thing is because it's leaking all the fuel out of the fuel tank, and it's leaving the fuel tank dry. And what that's going to do is it's going to cause rust in the fuel tank. It's already done it, because it's been a little while since I've messed with this thing and it's dried out. But yeah, that's the big reason I'm trying to get this thing so it's not leaking fuel. Just need enough fuel in there to be above the stems. There's two fuel stems, because this carburetor has a on and a reserve, and the little on nipple inside there is higher than the reserve nipple. So you run the thing on until you run out of fuel. Then you turn it to reserve, and you got a little bit of fuel. Not exactly sure how much fuel you have when you go to that reserve, but there's enough, I guess, they figured, to get to the next gas station. And it looks like I've got them all, both of the stems covered. So it should tell me, this should give me a really good idea if I found my leak or not. Oh, and well, seems like I got fuel. I got some fuel leaking. I probably should have took that carb off. Should have took the carb off and cleaned it up a little bit. It could be the needle and seat is it's stuck. So what it's doing is it's overflowing the carburetor. Okay, so it's gushing out now. Well, it's pouring out of the carburetor somewhere. I cannot tell where. Okay, so this thing's definitely pouring out of the carburetor. So I gotta pull the carburetor off. Pretty simple, just pull this air box off, 2 of the fuel lines, unscrew this. This is the throttle cable. We'll get that unscrewed. And then there's actually a drain right here for the I don't know how much fuel I put in there. Probably too much. Just about all these bolts are 10 millimeter on these bikes. Everything's 10 millimeter. That's what it seems like anyway. Okay, so I got the carburetor loose here. Trying to get these fuel lines off. They're pretty hard. Don't know if I'm going to be able to get them off without ruining them. This carb has been on here for quite a while. Like I said, maybe 15 years. Just love getting fuel everywhere. Love wasting fuel. So dang expensive. I know that was pretty dirty in there. What come out of there was pretty darn dirty at first. Okay, so I'm pretty sure we just have a stuck needle and seat, probably from trash, going into the carburetor. Actually, that was loose. These screws were looser than they should be. We got her off and we got her cleaned, and might as well just pull it apart here, see what we got. I know you're probably not seeing the best of a camera angle there, but See if I can get this apart without wrecking my gasket there. I don't have a carburetor kit or anything for this. It doesn't appear. I mean, there's some junk in the bowl there, but it doesn't appear that anything is stuck in here. Appears everything's working. I think I'm just gonna, could be this gasket here isn't the best. Probably should have got a carburetor kit for this thing. Well, I'm just gonna blow these holes out. Might need a new. No, maybe there's some dirt on that seat. Well, like I said, I'm just going to go blow them holes out, put this thing back together. I don't know if I got enough fuel to do another test, but I guess once I get this all back together, I'll bring you back. Okay, so I got it all back together here. Pretty much just blew out the holes. I didn't see anything plugged. It ran fine. It was just leaking. What appeared to be leaking out of the gasket, possibly, of the carburetor. Maybe the float was stuck. I don't know. I'm going to get it back on there, fill it back up with fuel. Hopefully we don't have any leaks. Okay, guys, so I did find the issue with the carburetor leaking. And actually I've tested it. It's been a few days, so I know that was the problem. On this side, on the back side of the carburetor, you can see in there, hopefully you can see it, there's a little cap. It kind of looks like the front selector, but actually that holds a screen, so it keeps the crud from going into the carburetor. I haven't messed with one of these carburetors for a long time, but I totally forgot about that. Anyway, there's like an O-ring for that, and what I found was, here it is, and it is hard and doesn't look that great. And I just put a regular O-ring in there. I don't know how long that'll last, but I got a carb kit coming for this. Probably won't make it for this video, but it should have that O-ring in there. Should have a gasket for the bowl and everything. Should have everything I need. I might just wait till it starts leaking again to put that carb kit on there. But anyway, it's not leaking. You can see the fuel is on, and there's nothing leaking. But it's been a long time since I've been messing with one of those carbs, with one of those little Honda carbs. So kind of forgot what the deal was. But once you start fiddling with it, kind of all comes back. But anyway, guys, little video on this 71 Trail 90 that I have. I'm going to put it back together. Probably go get some fresh gas and dump it in the tank, and probably take the dog for a run or something, just to let this thing run. You know, when stuff sits, it's not good for anything just to sit, especially these mechanical things that are designed to be driven almost daily, really. I guess, guys, that's going to do it for this one. And I'll see you.